Welcome everybody to Technology Today, episode number 44. I'm your host David Herzog, and today I've got some stories from the world of technology and going to talk about Acronis True Image, what it is and why you may consider buying it for your home or PC. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. Well, hello everybody, what's going on? It's David Herzog talking at you here. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you and yours are well, and we're getting into the final 2 months of this year, 2025. Wow, where did time go? I'll tell you where it went. It went to everybody doing their jobs, taking care of their families and running your kids to school and running the errands for your husband, your aunt, your uncle, your parents, your grandparents. That's where all the time went. Well, and with that being said, if you want to listen to this podcast, you sure can do that. You can listen to it on Spreaker.com in the technology section of the webpage, and you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio. And also, if you want to, totally voluntary on your part, you don't have to do this at all. It won't hurt my feelings whatsoever. You can watch this on my YouTube channel and my Twitter page as well too. And with that being said, I'm gonna go back to myself there, and I got some stories here, that I found that were interesting and stuff. Especially this one, this first one right here that I want to talk about here. And this is the one about hackers steal Discord accounts with Red Tiger based info stealer. And according to this article, attackers are using the open source red team tool Red Tiger to build an info stealer that collects Discord account data and payment information. The malware can also steal credentials stored in the browser, cryptocurrency wallet data, and game accounts. Red Tiger is a Python-based penetration testing suite for Windows and Linux that bundles options for scanning networks and cracking passwords, OSINT related utilities, Discord focused tools, and a malware builder. Red Tiger's info stealer components offers the standard capabilities of snatching system info, browser cookies and passwords, crypto wallet files, game files, and Roblox and Discord data. It can also capture webcam snapshots and screenshots of the victim's screen. Although the project marks its dangerous functions as legal use only on GitHub, its free and unconditional distribution and lack of any safeguards allow easy abuse. According to a report from Netscope, threat actors are now abusing Red Tiger's info stealer component primarily for targeting French Discord account holders. The attackers compiled Red Tiger code using PyInstaller to form standalone binaries and gave those gaming on Discord related names. Once the info stealer is installed on the victim's machine, it scans for Discord and browser database files. It then extracts plain and encrypted tokens via regex, validates the tokens, and pulls the profile, email, multi-factor authentication, and subscription information. Next, it injects custom JavaScript into Discord's index.js to intercept API calls and captures events such as login attempts, purchases, and even password changes. It also extracts payment information, PayPal, credit cards stored on Discord. From the victim's web browsers, Red Tiger harvests safe passwords, cookies, history, credit cards, and browser extensions. The malware also captures desktop screenshots and scans for .txt and .sql and .zip files on the file system. After collecting the data, the malware archives the files, uploads them to GoFile, a cloud storage service that allows anonymous uploads. The download link is then sent to the attacker via a Discord webhook along with the victim's metadata. And regarding evasion, Red Tiger is well equipped, featuring anti-sandbox mechanisms and terminating when debuggers are detected. The malware also spawns 400 processes and creates 100 random files to overload forensic analysis. While Netscope has not shared explicit distribution vectors for the weaponized Red Tiger binaries, some common methods include Discord channels, malicious software download sites, forum posts, malvertising, and YouTube videos. If you suspect compromise, revoke Discord tokens, change passwords, and reinstall your Discord desktop client from the official site. Also, clear saved data from browsers and enable MFA everywhere. In MFA, for those who do not know, multi-factor authentication. That's exactly what MFA stands for. Alright, so those who have Discord, that's something to who with Discord. I don't have Discord or anything like that. I'm not I'm not affiliated in any way with Discord, so it does not apply to me personally. But if it applies to you, that's something that you might want to check out and be aware of. Okay, all right. Now, okay, everything looks to be looking real good here. Don't have any drop frames, no BS, and everything is working as it should be. And we do have our microphone, and we're great, all set here. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead, and how long have we been on here? We've been on about 9 minutes or so yeah, we got a little time, hopefully everybody is on Windows 11 by now as well too, and there's nothing wrong with Windows 11. The last computer in my household, to go Windows 11 was one that I built for my son in September. It's got the 15th generation processor, which I believe is 1851 socket, and it's fast. My son has the updated latest and greatest PC. He's got a 2 terabyte storage drive, Samsung M.2 NVMe, 2 terabytes of storage, and he's got 32 gigs of RAM in there. So his computer's great. I had a good time building it, and we're all on Windows 11. We're all Windows 11 household right now. So hopefully you'll all be everybody is Windows 11, because Microsoft just stopped doing extended security updates for Windows 10 a week ago. October 14th. It'll be a week ago tomorrow. So like it or not, if you're a Microsoft person, if you're a Microsoft household, if you use Microsoft's PC for your home or business, you got to have Windows 11 on it. If not, you're going to be. If not, you're probably on Mac or Linux. You know, one of those two other ones. Okay. Well, with that being said, and talking about that, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next story that I have here that I thought was kind of interesting here, and we'll talk about that. And this is the next story here is new CoPhish attacks steal OAuth tokens via Copilot Studio agents. And according to this article, a new phishing technique dubbed CoPhish weaponizes Microsoft's Copilot Studio agents to deliver fraudulent OAuth consent requests via legitimate and trusted Microsoft domains. The technique was developed by researchers at Datadog Security Labs, who warned in a report earlier this week that Copilot Studio's flexibility introduces new undocumented phishing attacks. Although CoPhish relies on social engineering, Microsoft has confirmed to Bleeping Computer that it plans on fixing the underlying cause in a future update. We investigated this report and are taking action to address it through future updates, a Microsoft spokesperson told Bleeping Computer. While this technique relies on social engineering, we remain committed to hardening our governance and consent experiences and are evaluating additional safeguards to help organizations prevent misuse. Copilot agents and OAuth phishing. Copilot Studio agents are chatbots hosted on copilotstudio.microsoft.com that users can create and customize through topics, which are workflows that automate specific tasks. Agents can be shared on Microsoft's domain by enabling the demo website feature because the URL is a legitimate one. It is easier for a user to fall for the trick and log in. The login topic, which authenticates the user when starting a conversation with the chatbot, can be configured for specific actions like requesting a verification code or redirecting to another location or service. Katie Knowles, senior security researcher at Datadog, says that an attacker can customize the login button with a malicious application that can be either internal or external to the target environment, and could target an application admin even though they don't have access to the environment. Targeting an unprivileged user in the tenant is currently possible if the threat actor is already present in the environment. However, when Microsoft's default policy changes, the attack would be limited only to OneNote, read-write permissions, and close the gap for email, chat, and calendar services. Knowles says that even after Microsoft's update, it is still possible for an external attacker to target an application administrator with an externally registered application, because the changes do not apply to high privilege roles. Users with administrative privileges in the tenant can approve permissions requested by internal or external applications, even if they are not verified or marked as not being published by Microsoft or their organization. The Datadog researcher says that a CoPhish attack starts with the threat actor creating a malicious multi-tenant app with a sign-in topic configured to direct to the authorization provider and to collect a session token. Getting the session token is possible by configuring an HTTP request to a burp collaborator URL and deliver the access token variable in a token header. And for those who are watching, if you can see, here's a diagram. Here's a diagram of everything that's going on with this co-phishing issue here that's going on. I want to just keep that on the screen for a little bit before I read any further. And the application ID or client ID, secret, and authentication provider URLs are used to configure the agent's sign-in settings, Knowles said in a report this week. It should be noted that the redirect action When the victim user's attack click on the login button can be configured to redirect to any malicious URL, and the application consent workflow URL is just one possibility for the attacker. CoPhish attack on admins. After activating the malicious agent's demo website, an attacker can distribute it to targets in email phishing campaigns or over team messages. Since the URL is legitimate and the design of the page, users may think that it is just another Microsoft Copilot service. Knowles says that one clue could raise suspicions is the Microsoft Power Platform markup, which is easy to miss. Okay, and after an admin falling for the trick and accepting the malicious app's permissions are taken to the OAuth redirect URL token.botframework.com to validate the bot connection. This may seem atypical, but it's a standard part of the Copilot Studio authentication process using a valid domain. The Datadog researcher says after completing the authentication process, the user will receive no notification about their session token being forwarded to Burp Collaborator and their session being hijacked, but they will be able to chat with the agent. Furthermore, because the token was sent from Copilot using Microsoft's IP address, the connection to the attacker will not show in the user's web traffic. Below is a visual overview of how the CoPhish attack works and the steps from the victim user accessing the malicious app to the attacker receiving the stolen token. And I want everybody to kind of check that out there. And this is how this CoPhish attack works. Yeah. So for those who are watching and those who are checking everything out there, yeah, that's how it works according to that diagram right there. And Microsoft told Bleeping Computer that customers can protect against CoPhish attacks by limiting administrative privileges, reducing application permissions, and enforcing governance policies. Datadog provides a set of security considerations that include implementing a strong application consent policy that would cover any gaps in Microsoft's default baseline configuration. The cloud monitoring and security company also advises organizations to disable user application defaults and closely monitor application consent via Entra ID and Copilot Studio agent creation events. So, IT departments where you work at, and all other IT departments all over the world are definitely watching this, and as well as Microsoft is watching this as well too. Okay, now back to me, and let's see. I got that third and final story here, and this one's a fairly recent one too. This one is talking about the critical WSUS flaw in Windows Server now exploited in attacks. Okie dokie. And now, attackers are now exploiting a critical severity Windows Server Update Service (WSUS) vulnerability, which already has publicly available proof of concept exploit code. Tracked as CVE 2025-59287, this remote code execution flaw affects only Windows servers with the WSUS server role enabled to enact as an update source for other WSUS servers within the organization, a feature that isn't enabled by default. Threat actors can exploit this vulnerability remotely in a low complexity attacks that don't require privileges or user interaction, allowing them to run malicious code with system privileges. Under these conditions, the security flaw could also be potentially wormable between WSUS servers. On Thursday, Microsoft released out-of-band security updates for all Impact Windows Server versions to comprehensively address CVE 2025-59287 and advised IT administrators to install them as soon as possible. And here's a list of those servers that are Windows servers that are affected. Microsoft also shared workarounds for admins who can't immediately deploy the emergency patches, including disabling the WSUS server role on vulnerable systems to remove the attack vector. Over the weekend, cybersecurity firm HawkTrace Security released proof of concept exploit code for CVE 2025-59287 that doesn't allow arbitrary command execution. Exploited in the wild. Dutch cybersecurity firm iSecurity reported earlier today that it has already observed scanning and exploitation attempts this morning, with at least one of its customers' systems compromised using a different exploit than the one shared by HawkTrace over the weekend. Excuse me there. I had to keep muting my microphone to cough there. I didn't think anyone would want to hear me cough through this podcast here. All right. And also, while WSUS servers aren't usually exposed online, iSecurity says it found roughly 2,500 instances worldwide, including 250 in Germany and about 100 in the Netherlands. American cybersecurity company Huntress also found evidence of CVE 2025-59287 attacks targeting WSUS instances with their default ports 8530-TCP and 8531-TCP exposed online starting Thursday, October 23rd. We expect exploitation of CVE 2025-59282 to be limited. WSUS is not often exposing ports 8530 and 8531. Across our partner base, we have observed 25 hosts susceptible, Huntress said. In the attacks observed by Huntress, the threat actors executed a PowerShell command reconnaissance of the internal Windows domain, which was then sent to a webhook. This data included the output from the following commands: WHOAMI, the currently logged in username, netuser/domain lists every user account in the Windows domain, IP /all display the network configuration for all network interfaces. The Netherlands National Cybersecurity Center confirmed the two companies' findings today, advising admins of the increase given that a POC exploit is already available. The NCSC has learned from a trusted partner that exploitation of the vulnerability, which with identifier CVE 2020-59282, was observed on October 24th, 2025. That's 3 days ago. And warned in a Friday advisory. It is not common practice for a WSUS service to be publicly accessible via the internet. Public proof of concept code for the vulnerability is now available, increasing the risk of exploitation. Microsoft has classified CVE 2025-59287 as exploitation more likely, indicating it is an appealing target for attackers. However, it has not yet updated its advisory to confirm the active exploitation. All right, and as you can see, in IT departments across this country and across the world, a server admin's work is never done. Okay, back to me now. And those are the three stories that I used to like to talk about. Okay, and now what I like to, I have a part of the podcast that I do here, besides the three stories that I just covered, which I like to call the technology tip of the day. So let me go ahead and get everything together here, and we're going to go ahead and get everything together here. So let me bring up my little presentation here. Okay. And now, this is the part of the podcast I do. I like to call technology tip of the day here. And this is going to be talking about creating an image with Acronis True Image Software. What is Acronis True Image Software, you might ask? Acronis True Image Software is an imaging and cloning software designed to create an image and clone of the data on the storage drive of your PC. And meaning the storage drive, meaning the hard drive or SSD of your PC where you have all of your data stored. Oh, okay. And I do have here, let me close everything out. I do have here well, I had it here. Let me go ahead and I'm going to show you, you know, where you can go to get this software. Okay. And here is the website, you know, and I believe I put this in the show notes as well too for this podcast. Acronis, and they have different solutions depending on your needs. You know, Acronis True Image Personal, Acronis Cyber Protect, formerly Acronis Cyber Protect, formerly Acronis Cyber Backup, and Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud Base. So, and you can get whichever one of these. I use this software religiously. When I make a change to my computer, I'm doing a backup with Acronis, and I pay for it every year, and it's only like 50 something dollars, a little over $50 a year, 53 something dollars a year, you know. And I create a backup whenever I make a change, any changes to my computer. So I have the latest backup in case anything happens to my computer. If a part goes bad or something like that, or I get a virus, you know, because you know things happen. We're all human, you know. We all make mistakes, you know. We're not perfect, you know. This is not Vulcan, where we're a society in a world that's based on logic and without any emotion. Um, you know, in case you make any kind of mistake or have a part go bad or get a virus on your computer, you know, you can get this software, make a backup of it on external hard drive like I do, and you know you can restore the image of your computer. You don't have to worry about paying ransomware or anything like that. to get your data back, which a lot of companies do that. And let me go here, and I'm going to bring up the software itself right here and show everybody actually, what it looks like. But first, let me go back to myself there, and I'll launch Acronis here. Okay, and it should come up. Okay. And this is the software right here. This is Acronis True Image. So I can show you that, this is the real deal. I use this software religiously. I've been using it for years. I use it on my son's computer. I created an image of his computer. I have an image created of my computer here that I'm doing this podcast, this live stream on. And there's so many things that you can do with this. And I'll just go through briefly what you can do. You can clone a disk. You can create a rescue media. That's what you create to restore an image. There's try and decide features, system cleanup, Acronis Secure Zone, Acronis Drive Cleanser, and third-party tools, Acronis Cloud Backup and Download, and Acronis Universal Restore. So there's lots that you can do with that. And as you can see, I have my computer right there. There's my computer right there, and that's the source. And this is where, if I was making an image of everything that was on this computer with Acronis, this is where the image would go and live. It would be an external hard drive. So, and it's real easy. It's real easy software to use, and it's there's lots of other software. You don't have to get this. You can use it if you're using any kind of a backup software currently. Go ahead and continue using that. That's totally your choice. But this is what I use. I pay for it, and I've been using it for years. And like I said, my son had a computer issue one time on his computer where he said, Dad, my music is gone. My music in Windows Media Player is gone. I said, okay. I said, well, let's get the backup out and restore your backup on your computer with Acronis. And as soon as I restored the backup that I created with Acronis, the Acronis software that I just showed you, all his music was back. So it is a lifesaver. If you care about any of the data that's on your computer, get this software, learn how to use it, register with Acronis, create your account, and make regular backups. So if anything goes wrong with your PC, a part goes bad or something like that, you got to replace a part, you get a virus, you can restore it. You have a backup image on an external hard drive, and you can restore that image, and you'll be back up and running. Okay, all right. So far, so good. And we are 35 minutes into the podcast here. Okay. And what we're going to do here, and I believe I've covered everything that I wanted to cover today. The 3 stories that I thought there were recent stories that I thought were interesting. And, I talked about Acronis, and I showed, where you can get Acronis if you're interested. If you're interested in Acronis, where you can get Acronis at. There's the website right there. And like I said, for your personal use, for your personal use, I use the personal one. I use the personal one for my PCs because I want to make sure I had the latest backup. So if anything happens, I can restore. I can restore that backup and be back up and running. But you choose whatever is best. You choose whatever option right there is best for you. Okay, and with that being said, I believe we're going to end the show for the day. If you're curious and you want to find out any more information about me, you can find me on the University of Cincinnati's homepage at homepages.uc.edu/the tilde key Herzog DL, or you can listen to this podcast on Spreaker.com in the technology section of the webpage, and on Apple Podcasts and on iHeartRadio. You can also watch this on my YouTube channel, Technology Today, and you can also watch us on my Twitter page as well too. Totally voluntary on your part. You don't have to watch or listen to this podcast at all. It's totally up to you. I do this just for informational purposes, not to be famous, or anything like that. So if you like this kind of content, please like it and subscribe, if you want to. Like I said, that's totally up to you too. And I'd like to thank everyone for listening and watching today. And I'll be talking at you soon. Goodbye. Until next time.